got the story Duck for President by Doreen Cronin, and I'm going to show you exactly what questions to ask your kids while you read this book together so that you get the most out of reading comprehension. The themes developed in this book are the reality of leadership, power of voting and elections, civic responsibility, finding your niche, the value of hard work, and appreciating what you have, and the electoral process. All right. First question. All right, first question, key details. What information does the author give us about how running a farm is hard work? Okay, so this is just going to establish what it takes to run a farm. The sheep are covered in dust, the cows are covered in weeds, the pigs are covered in lint bunnies every single day. Duck is covered in tiny bits of grass and espresso beans. All the animals have chores to do, and at the end of the day, the Farmer Brown, is covered head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, and coffee stains, and he stinks. So there's a lot of right there details that you can literally point to that indicate just how hard it is to run a farm. And this is important to establish at the beginning that this is hard work. That is a lesson that Duck is going to learn as we move through the story. Next question, central idea. What problem is Duck facing and how does he propose to solve it? So the problem Duck is facing is that he doesn't like to do chores. And he believes that he can solve this problem by running the farm. He's like, if I'm in charge of things, then I don't have to do anything. So I'm gonna run an election, I'm gonna make a vote, and I think everybody's gonna vote me in, and then I'm going to run the farm, not Farmer Brown. Okay? So he has this perception that, like, if I'm in charge, the work is easy and I don't have to do anything. I won't have to do my chores. Of course, he's gonna learn a lesson as it goes. All right, so Farmer Brown is in shock. His duck is running elections on the farm to take over. Next question, integrate visual information. How do the pictures and words work together to help us understand what is happening? All right, so we're gonna see the theme of like voting process and the voting equality and the electoral process here. Because our little illustration, it says voter registration, and there are requirements for voter registration. You have to live on the farm, you have to show a valid ID, and number 3, it says you have to be this tall, but he scratches that out because the little mice down there are not that tall, so he is making sure that the mice can vote because they should be able to vote. So voting equality, making sure everybody can vote, the electoral process, the idea that you have to register to vote and that there are requirements to register to vote. All right, Farmer Brown loses. He challenges it, there's a recount. Next question, key details. What happens because of the recount? Okay, so because of the recount, this is kind of getting to the themes of like an electoral process, like you can demand a recount and then they have to recount the votes. The power of democracy, if the recount could have overturned those results. So it highlights the power of democracy. Whoever gets the most votes wins. It highlights the electoral process, like there is a process to this, there are rules to voting, and those rules are followed, and whoever wins the vote wins the office. So that's just helping to develop the like electoral process and like the democratic process, I guess. All right, next question. Central idea. What new problem does Duck have? How does he propose to solve it? So Duck now is covered head to toe in hay, horsehair, seeds, sprouts, feathers, filth, mud, muck, coffee stains. Running a farm is no fun at all. So Duck got the job he wanted and he's like, oh, this is actually really hard. This isn't better. I don't like it. How does he propose to solve the problem? He is going to run for governor. So again, he's like, I'm just gonna run for a higher office and then it'll be easy. I won't have to do this. So we're getting to the theme of the reality of leadership, leadership is hard. You can't just run for a higher office and then that means you have to do nothing. You get to do nothing. It actually gets harder. So Duck has not learned that lesson, but we, the reader, are learning the lesson that leadership is hard. So Duck is now campaigning for governor. Miss Governor is in shock that she has lost to a duck. She demands a recount, and of course the recount is still in Duck's favor. Duck is now governor. Next question, key details. What happens because of the vote recount? This is just another highlight of the electoral process and like the power of democracy. Whoever wins the vote wins the seat. So yeah, this is kind of just highlighting that, because every time there's an election, there's always a recount. So Duck is now governor. Again, at the end of the day, Duck is covered from head to toe in hairspray, ink stains, scotch tape, fingerprints, mayonnaise, and coffee stains. So again, being governor is not fun. It is hard work. The theme of the reality of leadership, it's not easy. We are learning that. Duck is not. Next question, analyze point of view. What does Duck believe is happening? What do we as the reader know that he doesn't know? So Duck believes that he can continue just running for a higher office, and when he wins that office, he'll finally be on easy street and his life will be simple and easy and not stressful. We know that that is not the reality. Leadership is hard. There's a lot of work to do. And as you move up the ladder, things do not get easier. So this is getting into the reality of leadership, and it's starting to get into the value of hard work, but we're going to see that more. It's also starting to get into appreciating what you have. Perhaps we're getting to a point where Duck is going to understand that hindsight's 20/20 and he should appreciate what he has, his original role as a duck. All right, moving forward. Now he's running for president. He wins the office of president. Oh. Oh, there, okay. He wins the office of president. He's like, same thing, this is terrible, this is too hard. This is not for me. So Duck has now finally learned his niche. This is where we get to the theme of finding your niche. Like, he didn't just need a higher power, he just needed to appreciate where he was. This is also getting into the theme of like appreciating what you have. He's checking the want ads as president and sees that Farmer Brown has put out a want ad for a duck to do all of the work that he used to do. And he's gonna go take that job. So here he is back on the farm where he began, understanding that like this is the niche where he belonged. This is the value of hard work. Like, you can't, like, hard work is everywhere. You can't just escape it by going to get another job. He's going to appreciate what he has. He has his own civic responsibility to do his job at the farm. And yeah, last question, central idea. What has the reader learned over the course of the story? So we have learned that farming is hard work, and that there is value in that hard work, and that you can appreciate your niche where your value and your hard work is put. And that there's no escaping that. You can't just get another job and things will magically be easier. Yeah, hard work is valuable, the niche, although it's a little funny here because now Duck is writing a book. So this is another story where like Duck has not learned anything, but the reader has learned a lot through Duck's experiences. So that is Duck for President, with the themes of the reality of leadership, the power of voting and elections, civic responsibility, finding your niche, the value of hard work, appreciating what you have, and the electoral process.